helped him a little bit get off, because it was raring and lunging and jumping, and of course that brought my attention to what was all happening. I look across the creek, which we were about 15 feet from the edge of the creek. The creek was about 12, 13 feet, maybe 15 feet across, about 18 inches deep. And Roger went off the horse really rapid with his camera and ran across the creek. By that time, the creature had started walking away, and Roger fell down. There was a little raise in the edge of the creek there, and Roger stumbled and fell down because he had the camera to his head. And if any of you folks have seen that footage before, at the beginning you'll see it a kind of jumbled mess, and it's kind of, you can see that he's not doing real well with the camera. And so he got back up and stabilized himself on a small log. And I don't know how many of you have seen that diagram that different ones have made. And a gentleman from Vancouver, British Columbia, by the name of Chris Murphy, probably made the best one of any of them, if you ever get the opportunity to see that. So Roger stabilized himself on that log and kept filming the creature as it walked away. And it got quite a little ways away, probably 200 feet, maybe 3. It's pretty hard to tell. We never measured that afterwards. But anyway, Roger said, "Bob, will you cover me?" And I knew exactly what he meant, of course. He said, "I've got to relocate in a better position so I can get a better view of the creature." And by that time it was making kind of an arc around, and so I rode my horse across the creek, stepped down off the horse, and we both had saddle scabbards with rifles in them. Of course, Roger's horse left and went right back down the creek the way we were coming up. I still had my horse under control the best I could. He was a bit antsy about it a little bit, but he was an older horse, kind of a seasoned old roping horse. So he wasn't near as tough to handle as Roger's little waspy little horse that he was riding. Well, I rode across the creek, took my rifle out of the scabbard with no intention at all to fire a shot unless I felt it was completely necessary. And in the event that the thing turned around, I knew what I was looking at, but I had no idea what to expect. And I really wasn't afraid, I don't think. I'm not going to say that because probably I was and just didn't know. But anyway, I took the rifle down. I never raised it to my shoulder. I kept watching this creature walk away from us. She got up there a ways, and I heard Roger. Well, she was almost out of sight. And I don't even know why I had an urge just to follow her. So I got back up on the horse and Roger started yelling at me. I ran out of film, "Bob, don't leave me." And of course, I didn't know at the time that Roger was a little apprehensive to be left there because we seen one, and the area could have been some back in the trees, and there's been speculation on that since that said yes, there was evidence that they were some back in the trees. But I never saw them, and talking to Roger afterwards, he never saw them. So we'll just write that off as if they might not have been there. Well, anyway, as the thing goes on, we wanted to, I went to catch Roger's horse up for him so he could put film back in his, get the film out of the saddlebags and put it in the camera. We did that, and so then naturally we both decided that we would go ahead and follow where she went, where she disappeared up this other little